Hey everybody, Josh here. I just want to share a terrifying experience I just went through. I was sitting at my workstation doing some stuff with some wires and plugs on my desk, and I accidentally knocked over our external hard drive that is storing a lot of our valuable footage and thumbnails and templates and stuff like that. It ruined it, pretty much. What happened, and I'll show you, is that the plug that plugs into the back of it, the USB cord, it's all floppy and wobbly now. So, as you can see, that's not supposed to do that. So, I tried hooking it back up to the computer and trying to get it to work, and the light kicked on and it would blink, but it wouldn't recognize the hard drive anymore. So I panicked, and Marianne can verify I panicked, because she saw the look on my face. She knew I wasn't screwing around. And I started thinking about something, and so I decided to open this up, and I'm going to actually show you what I did and how I did it and what the end result was after I did it all. Again, if you have an external hard drive and it stops working for one reason or another, you will understand the panic that goes through your mind and through your body when that happens. But also be aware that there are certain situations where all hope is not lost. So I'm going to show you what happened, and here we go. Alright, so here's what I did, and I'm kind of recreating it for you for a little bit just to show you what I did, because I was in a panic and the last thing I thought about was actually turning on a camera. So this is the external hard drive that we had a lot of our primary footage in. A lot of footage all the way back to the beginning of our channel. Some of it I do have backed up on another drive, but I haven't backed it up in a while, so there's a lot of recent footage and recent templates and recent things on here that hadn't been backed up yet. And so it still created a lot of panic and concern, because some of this stuff I wouldn't be able to get back. So always back up your hard drives. Always have 2 or 3 backups if you can. If not, find a way to do it. Strongly recommend. At least your most important files, stuff you can't replace. Anyway, practice what I preach. I get it. So, the cord that plugged into the hard drive, I don't know how well you can see it, but they're very specific to the hard drives that plug in. And again, this cord the plug was busted. Something inside of there just snapped when it fell, and it's no good anymore. So, at that point I decided, well, this hard drive is, or at least this hard drive is toast. So at least I can open it up, take a look inside and see what's going on. See if it's repairable or not. So the first thing I had to do is figure out how to get into it. Now I didn't snap it all the way back together because I didn't want to have to fight with it again. But it's held together by little plastic tabs, and so I had to take a small flathead screwdriver, slide it in there and start working it all the way across until it finally let go. And once it let go, it popped off, giving me access to the inside of the hard drive. Now that I have access here, me understanding computers and working on computers before, I recognize this hard drive. I just didn't recognize the rest of what was going on up here. My next step was to get this out of here. Now this particular hard drive, it's a Seagate hard drive. Yeah, I could put the model number and stuff in the description if needed, but it's not that old. It's only a couple years old, if that. So knowing it's a newer hard drive tells me it might be compatible with my computer. So after I got it opened up, I decided to take it out of the housing. So the housing comes right out. Set it off to the side. Here's the hard drive, and here's what we're looking at. So this section right here is what went bad. It broke. The contacts broke inside of it, or whatever it was. I've seen that happen with cell phones a lot too, but once that's shot, you're kind of in a bad spot. So looking at this, I know it's a standard hard drive that you see in most computers, except for all this stuff going on at the end. First thing I did is I had to peel back the aluminum to see what was happening on the back here. And I noticed that this section was very similar to the way standard computers, internal hard drives, connect right in. But obviously there's something already plugged into it. So I started looking at it and I realized that there's a screw right here on the bottom. So I took the screw out and realized that this whole thing slides right off, which is huge, because now what I'm pretty much holding is an internal hard drive for a computer. And these things just pop right off. They're just shock absorbers for the housing. And then these screws come right out as well. So for those of you who have worked on computers, you can take these out and connect it the way you need to. So now what you got on the back of this hard drive is a standard internal connection. So you have the data source, you have the power source, they both plug in. So in a lot of computers you have plugs, this might be kind of hard to see, but plugs like this. One side plugs right into the motherboard, the other side would plug right in to there. And then there's another harness that's the power supply / other stuff that's part of your motherboard that would plug right into here. You have to shut down your computer obviously when you're doing this, and then after you get it all plugged in, when you start your computer back up, your computer should automatically recognize the hard drive. So what I did, all of this, I took the hard drive out, I disconnected this thing, which is pretty much junk now. Got rid of these things because I don't really have a use for that. Have an old housing, but I don't have a use for that anymore. And then it was time for the actual will it work. So I'm going to show you a little bit on my computer tower how it looks after it's all put together. So we're back in. I had already done everything I explained to you about plugging in the cords and everything. It's on the back side of the tower. I'm not going to turn it around to mess around with that all again, because I'd have to unplug everything. I don't want to do that. But the hard drive I took out of there is sitting right here. So as you can see, it's an internal hard drive, and it looks just like the internal one I already had in there. So if it clips right in, or it slips right in, secured down, the wire's plugged in with no problem. Put everything back together, turned on the computer, and crossed my fingers. What I found is it detected the hard drive. It even kept the same name and everything. So it lets me access all the files I had. Everything is still there. Everything is still intact. Everything is fully functional still. So I can click on any of the videos. Everything is still working. So pretty much what I did is I took our external hard drive that had been non-functional, we'll put it that way. I dropped it. Took it out of the casing, took all the extra stuff off of it, plugged it directly into the computer, which fortunately it had the same type of connections, and it fired right up. So if you don't know much about computers or computer components and how they go together, I wouldn't recommend you try this, but if you know somebody who does, and if you're ever in this kind of a situation, you may not be completely out of luck. You may still have an opportunity to, if nothing else, get access to the hard drive so you could pull the footage off of it or pull the content off of it. don't just throw it away. Talk to somebody who knows something about computers. Have them open up the casing. Have them look at the connections and see if they could find a way to connect it directly to the computer like I did. Because I was very fortunate. Newer hard drive, newer computer, so the parts were compatible. Just keep in mind that panic that kicks in, sometimes if you just slow down, think it through, you can find a solution for it. So I was lucky. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you and let you know how terrified I had just been and how I overcame it. So talk to you guys soon. Love you very much. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.